Warriors, welcome back to Gods of Alliance. If you're here, it means you want power, knowledge, and control over the battlefield. This is not luck, this is strategy. Let's break the game together. Today, we close the Kendall chapter, and after everything we've tested, after seeing her inside multiple chaos compositions, after watching entire battles slowly collapse under non-stop pure damage pressure, one thing has become completely undeniable. Kendall is not just another strong hero entering the Dominion. She is a hero capable of reshaping how battles evolve. Because Kendall was never designed around instant victories or flashy 5-second destruction. She was built around escalation, around pressure, around turning the battlefield into a slow-burning nightmare where every second that passes makes the enemy weaker and your team more dangerous. And that is exactly why she feels so oppressive once the fight stabilizes. The longer the battle continues, the stronger Kendall becomes. The more sacrifice mechanics activate, the more pressure builds. The more rotations happen, the more impossible the situation starts becoming for the enemy team. And once the pure damage engine starts scaling correctly, the battlefield simply spirals out of control. That is Kendall's true identity. Not burst, not immediate domination, inevitability, and warriors. That kind of hero is always dangerous because inevitability creates panic. Experienced players understand this immediately. The moment they realize Kendall survived the first wave of aggression, the clock starts ticking inside their heads because they know something terrifying is coming later into the fight. And honestly, that psychological pressure matters far more than most people realize. Because Kendall transforms stable battles into collapsing battles, she slowly changes the rhythm of the fight until suddenly the enemy team is no longer controlling anything anymore. They are reacting. They are surviving. They are desperately trying to stop a scaling machine that keeps growing stronger every rotation. And the most dangerous part? Armor doesn't save you. Magic defense doesn't fully protect you. Traditional sustain eventually begins failing. Because pure damage eventually reaches everything. Now, during testing, we pushed Kendall through multiple setups. Classic easy Shah sacrifice compositions, Aiden sustain cores, aggressive Kayla pressure teams, hybrid magical damage variations, even slower scaling, chaos lines designed entirely around extended fights. And the result was always terrifyingly similar. If Kendall survives long enough, the enemy eventually breaks. Every single time. And that is what separates her from normal damage dealers, because most heroes win through explosive moments. Kendall wins through battlefield corruption. Every second she stays alive, the pressure keeps increasing until eventually the enemy team simply cannot stabilize anymore. And this is exactly why her synergy structure matters so much. Kendall does not replace existing chaos cores. She amplifies them. Z-Shah becomes even more oppressive because sacrifice mechanics constantly feed scaling interactions between the two heroes. Aiden becomes even more valuable because extended battles directly benefit Kendall's survival cycle. Kayla gains enormous value because non-stop pressure and weakened enemies allow her to dive much more aggressively without the enemy ever truly stabilizing again. And then, magical critical hit enters the equation. And this is where things become terrifying. Because once pure damage starts critically hitting consistently, the damage ceiling becomes absurd. We are no longer talking about normal scaling anymore. We are talking about unavoidable pressure capable of bypassing traditional defensive structures entirely. And warriors, Hero Wars players fear one thing more than anything else: pressure they cannot stop. That is exactly what Kendall introduces into the battlefield. Not immediate destruction, unavoidable escalation. And honestly, that may become even more dangerous for the future meta, because scaling heroes always age differently from traditional burst heroes. As relic optimization improves, as players discover stronger synergy combinations, as chaos structures evolve, Kendall naturally becomes stronger alongside them. And that is the truly scary part. We are probably still seeing only the first version of this monster. Because once players fully optimize relic interactions, sacrifice timing, survivability balance, and pure damage combinations, Chaos teams may evolve into something completely different from what we currently understand. But warriors, this is also where we need to stay intelligent, because Kendall is not a hero you throw randomly into teams expecting free victories. That will fail immediately. Kendall demands structure, protection, timing, positioning, understanding. If she dies early, the entire system collapses. No scaling, no pressure, no nightmare. And this is exactly why frontline stability matters so much around her, because Kendall needs breathing room. She needs enough time for the sacrifice engine to begin rolling correctly. Energy control matters. Sustain matters. Rotational pacing matters. Everything around her composition needs to support long-term escalation instead of reckless aggression. And honestly, that is what makes her so interesting from a gameplay perspective. This is not autopilot gameplay. This is calculated destruction. Players who understand battle pacing are going to unlock absurd value from this hero, while inexperienced players may completely misunderstand her potential simply because they are expecting instant results instead of long-term. Pressure scaling, and that is where Kendall separates average players from dangerous players. Because dangerous players understand inevitability. Now, of course, Kendall is not invincible. Fast aggression can still punish her before scaling begins. Heavy burst remains dangerous if the front line collapses too quickly. Control compositions can delay important rotations and disrupt momentum before the pressure engine fully activates. And if the enemy completely destroys her protection too early, Kendall loses her breathing room. But here's the terrifying problem. The moment the fight stabilizes, the advantage starts shifting, slowly, relentlessly, until the enemy suddenly realizes they are no longer winning the battle anymore. That is elite hero design. Not heroes that instantly delete teams without interaction. Heroes that slowly suffocate the battlefield until victory becomes inevitable. And warriors. That is exactly why Kendall already feels like one of the most important Chaos heroes released in a very long time, because she introduces an entirely different style of pressure into the game, a style built around inevitability. Now, after all the testing, all the gameplay, all the experimentation, the final conclusion becomes very clear. Kendall is absolutely worth investing into, especially for Chaos players. Because she brings everything that long-term scaling compositions want. Pressure, synergy, late-game dominance, pure damage amplification, magical critical scaling, and relentless battlefield escalation. But more importantly, she rewards intelligent gameplay. And heroes that reward intelligent gameplay always become more dangerous over time, because experienced players continuously push them further and further beyond their original expectations. This hero has a future, a very dangerous future. And honestly, warriors, we are still only beginning to understand what fully optimized Kendall teams may eventually become once the community truly masters her mechanics. Because once pure damage scaling gets fully explored, once relic optimization becomes widespread, once players discover the strongest sacrifice structures, the battlefield will change, and Chaos may evolve into something absolutely terrifying. So stay ready, stay informed, and stay ahead of the meta. Because here at Gods of Alliance, we do not chase hype. We study power, we master strategy, we control the battlefield before the fight even begins. Warriors, this is how we play the game. Not randomly, not blindly, with knowledge, with precision, with control. We don't build randomly, we build with intention. Master the mechanics. Control the fight. Let's break the game together.